Greg Carson, former player of the Nitehawks and alumni from 1993 to 1997. Also proud member of the first Cyclone Taylor Championship team in Beaver Valley. You're listening to Hawk Talk with hosts and alumni Ross Simner, Jake Morissette, and Connor Jones. Enjoy the show, folks.
Dallas, where you at? Whereabouts?
I'm at my house here in Trail. Yeah, just sitting
Nice.
outside.
Looks good there. Connor's in some getting interrogated at the airport. Clearly.
No, man. So it's Pride parade. So I didn't realize, I wasn't paying attention. I booked my Uber and we're going through this. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss my flight. Like, I like a big plan of like coming early to do record, and then I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna miss things. But we ended up taking a different way and made it in. So, but is it humid up there, Simmy? It's brutal here today. Oh my God.
Toronto, no, not too bad. It's just it's yeah, a little bit, but it's Pride here too. So like the traffic was just absolute brutal. So, Jakey, you're allowed up late tonight.
Yeah, well, it was dinner time. You guys are pushing dinner back on me, but I'll be all right.
Not a guy. So Dallas, you've obviously been like, we checked the podcast. You're a top subscriber, so you clearly know how it goes.
Yeah, I'm in on it for every episode. Yeah, might have to give me a little reminder, but
yeah, we like finally allowed Barrett Jackman on. Like, he's been bugging us for fucking months, right? Or like,
we're able to squeeze him in.
I think it was like an extra episode as well. We had to like build an episode, like a special episode for him, because we didn't have room for him. So, I mean, he's a lucky guy. No, that was pretty cool. So, but yeah, it's good. It's yeah, we just like to catch up with guys, especially from different eras, right? Seeing like, you know, what guys are up to, and maybe talk a bit about guys you played with and stuff as well. People like, you know, hear their names out there and stuff like that. I know you clearly through Elite Prospects, which I'm pretty sure my work is now banned from my work computer because I'm on there so much. I'm joking, but yeah, I know it's good to finally put a face to the this third liner we've heard about, and
yeah,
role player.
I guess we should start the show because I'm ripping off one-liners here.
Yeah, you look great.
Don't waste this stuff.
So yeah, we'll kind of just we'll just say hello. Jake, clearly nothing's going on with you. So we'll say hello, and then I'll pull Jake in and say hi, and then I'll chat with Connor a few minutes, and then we'll introduce you, and each of us kind of just gonna spitball some questions at you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Fellas, I got the chat there, so if we come up with something that we want to jump in on, just type it in there.
Okay.
As usual, we've all done our heavy research, me and Jake, as
Wikipedia.
Three minutes ago. Okay, here we go. What Connor, what episode is this? Oh, episode 9.
9.
I like how you put it in there for me now so I can see it.
I gotta really organize it for you, eh?
Yeah. Well, before I call it the Hawk Nest one a few times, and
I think the
I
first
was like, season 2 of the Hawk Nest, and it was like, no, it's fucking Hawk Talk episode 2. What's happening, everybody? This is Hawk Talk, episode 9. We're coming at you. It's the middle of summer here. We got Jake Morissette. I'm not sure how the weather is over there. Me and Connor are on the same side of the North America here. How you doing over there in mighty Wales there, Jakey Morissette?
Yeah, doing good. Good to see you, Simmy. It's been good weather here. Pretty hot, especially for Cardiff this time of year. So enjoying it.
People can't see if you're rocking the tank top. Clearly, you're still hitting the gym. 3-day splits, I'm guessing.
Well, you can only see me from neck up, really. So
traps are looking good.
Bit of a barrel down below.
Well, hey, it's all about the traps. So the traps are the new big thing these days, no?
Yeah, no, that's my main
we
focus.
got so Jake and I were talking on the phone. We got, celebrity here now, Connor Jones. He's coming off the plane, so we had to put this special podcast back about. We'll start off back 15 minutes, then 30 minutes, right? So I called Jakey over there, used up some international minutes, and to say, like, clearly Connor's going to have the Stanley Cup in the background as we talk to him, with some sliders in it, or maybe a Caesar or something like that, very Canadian of him. So I'm guessing, Connor, the cup is just beside you.
You know what? Contrary to what you believe, I don't have the cup right now. It's probably with the players and I think the team. the guys who actually won it. But I was there.
It takes a team, Connor. Give us a bit of a rundown for people that don't really know how you ended up on the ice with raising the cup above your head.
Yeah, so I actually got a few questions. Someone was like, "Hey, you're still playing? You're playing for the Knights?" I'm like, "What? Like, keep
Rotator cuff injury."
But so I'm amateur scout for the Golden Knights. For those who don't know, for Game 5, the clinching game, ownership was like, "Hey, we want to get all of our full staff out there." And they're like, "Hey, you guys will go down the ice." And I'm like, "Holy shit! Like, I don't need this. This is an awesome experience." But I jumped in with 2 feet, and I was like, "Hey, like, here we go." And then one of the other scouts was like, "Hey, like, you're gonna lift the cup?" I'm like, "Well, I don't need to. Like, I mean, again, I didn't win it. I did win it, but
Is it because you lied about that rotator cuff injury? So you're like, if I raise it, it's gonna look bad."
Exactly. So yeah, no, we waited around, and I was one of the last guys to get to raise it, and it was, unbelievable experience for sure.
Absolutely. Well, you've worked hard, obviously on the ice, and then after playing hockey ended, you've worked really hard to get where you're at now. And I mean, it's pretty awesome to be part of an organization like that. So good job, man. We're all pretty pumped to see that.
Yeah.
So we have this again. This guest we've been waiting for a while. He's like longtime listener as well, and all-time leading scorer. Everyone's a legend on this podcast. I mean, minus Shane Drake. Sorry, everyone's been a legend that we brought on, but this certain player. Every time we ask anyone, like your all-time Hawks top 5, I mean top 6 with goalies, I guess. Sorry, keepers out there. 2 names come up often: Jake Morissette and our guest today, Mr. Dallas Calvin. How you doing over there?
Doing really good, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Nice, man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to get to know you a few minutes before there. Like I said, I've been able to obviously see the stats and stuff, and now putting a person behind it and hearing a lot about you from old coaches of mine and people in the area. Kind of give us a bit of a rundown, like how you started out, where you're from, how you started off with the Nitehawks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the Okanagan. My family moved out to Trail at a pretty young age, and Dad started taking me to Nitehawks games when I was a little bit younger, and fell in love with it then. Pretty cool experience. Got to see guys like Craig Cunningham and Kyle St. Dennis and guys like that playing that I used to see around town all the time. And then you see them out on the ice and you think there's a rock star, superstar out there. So you kind of want to be like that. And then kind of just a goal of mine to play there, and came up through the minor hockey system in Trail. And I knew the Jones boys and I knew Jonesy a little bit, and ended up going to Trails camp when I was 16 and had a pretty good camp there. And then Jonesy signed me right after that camp ended at 16 to come on and play the following season.
So in Trail, did you played minor hockey up until, well, I don't know if they call it nowadays or if they did when you were playing, but Bantam hockey?
Yeah, so I played up till my first year midget. I still played in Trail as a 15-year-old, and then made the jump at 16. Yeah.
Made the jump at 16, right out of, so went to camp, made the jump. First year. Yeah, you remember that one pretty good?
I do. It seems like it's forever ago now. I mean, it's been 12 or 13 years already, but I do. I remember it really well. I remember it was a tough season. As far as just learning how to be a junior hockey player, it's a little different when you come out of minor hockey, especially midget. Like I didn't play for the major midget program, so I was just coming out of midget double A, where there's a little more leeway to kind of do what you want to do, and not so many consequences when you're scoring goals. So it was an adjustment for me for sure, but just a lot of good guys on that team that kind of helped me get through.
Who were some of those leaders on that team? Like, who are the vets when you're 16 and those guys are 20 that are leading the way for you?
Yeah, I mean, the first guy that sticks out, his name's Colton Doncelar. He was our captain that year, and I actually have kind of a funny story about him just from my first ever camp after I signed. And we were he was always really good. Super nice guy. I mean, he's a 20-year-old and I'm a 16-year-old, so we know how that goes sometimes. But he always treated everybody really well. And I remember we were waiting to go on the ice for our first exhibition game, and we were standing at the door, coming out of the Nitehawks room. We're standing at the gate, and I'm standing right behind Donnie, and he looks up in the stands, and he's like, "Whoa, look at that mom. She's pretty hot." And I didn't think anything of it. And then I kind of look up, and I see my mom standing there up in the stands, and I'm like, I look at him, I'm like, "That's my mom." And he's like, "Oh, sorry, man." Like right away. So that was kind of my first memory I have of Donnie there.
Hometown boys, eh?
Yeah, it was pretty funny, but he was awesome. Another guy is like Ryan Sucro was great. Chris Hiroshi, he was a couple of years older than me on that team, and I think Jonesy, DeRoche pretty well. He's just a pretty great guy. So just guys like that had been around a little bit and made it a lot easier to transition.
So you get through that first year, you kind of get your feet wet and adjust to the junior hockey. Then you go and have a good career, and you end up winning. I think in your last year, was it the league, the Cyclone Taylor, and the Keystone Cup? What do you kind of remember about that, like with the guys with that team, or things that were special with that team, whether it was any special games or even just like your win songs or like the songs you would go out to on the ice or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, our win song that year was man, I'm not gonna remember the name of it, but it was a Snoop Dogg song.
Yeah, sing it for us.
It was a Snoop Dogg song, and the funniest part about that was it was like that smoke weed every day song, and it was just a bunch of young guys, right, just being goofs in the dressing room after. But guys used to kind of do this one dance move with their hands, and I don't think T-Ray had any idea what was going on, but I remember the more we started playing this Win song and stringing it along, that Jonesy would come in the room after the game and the Win song would be on. He would start doing this dance move with his hands after every game, and it kind of made the guys laugh and got them going. And it kind of just became a thing that we would wait for Jonesy to get in the room and then start the song, and then he would kind of get going with it. But yeah, I mean, that was just that team overall, like and so many good character guys on that team. Like obviously we were pretty stacked with the talent we had, and I want to say we had at least 12 or 13 guys that were local from Roslyn Trail, Fruitvale area, which is pretty cool too. But that was a pretty cool run. I think we finished fourth in the league that year, and we had to beat the top three teams all in the playoffs, which we did, to make our run all the way to the finals. And then I think we played Kamloops in the final, and there's a story there that Jonesy T-Ray would probably know better, but some about, they had a bunch of ex-Western League guys on their team. They had a coach. I can't remember who the coach was, but he had come down from pro, and he ended up getting a bunch of good guys. And it was a long travel for us. So Jonesy tried to get it as a 2-3-2 series, obviously trying to save some money and make it a little bit easier. And their coach kind of went off about how we won't need to worry about that. It's going to be a 4-game series, and kind of just blew off Jonesy. And then we ended up beating them in 6 games, I think, at home. So that was a good one. Oh, that was unreal. Jonesy shared that story with us before the series, so a little extra motivation. And then yeah, Cyclone was cool. I went there at 17. We didn't win a game, which was tough. So we got to go back at 19 again.
Who was that against?
In when I was 17?
Yeah.
17, it was in Abbotsford, so we would have played
was it like tournament style when you played?
Yeah, so 3 teams and then the host, so 4 teams. And then you play the round robin, and the top 2 teams go to the final. So Delta was there. I want to say Abbotsford was there because they were the host. We were there, and I can't remember the other team off the top of my head, but nobody
remembers the island teams, right?
It was probably Victoria, but they seemed to always be there when I was playing. But we had a really, really good team that year, but I think we tied twice and lost the other game in our round robin, and ties are so stupid. I don't know why they have those anymore, but
oh, you're telling us, yeah.
Yeah.
JPA.
Yeah. So we left a little salty from that one. And then we had a lot of the same guys 2 years later, which was nice. And we went in and had a really good tournament. It was in Nelson that year, so We beat Nelson in 6 in the playoffs. So, but we had to face them again in the Cyclone, and
Oh,
I think if I remember correctly, someone might correct me if they listen to this, but I think we had to beat Nelson to get through to the final. We had won both our games; they had won both of their games, or something like that. And anyways, we ended up doing it to get through to the final, which was nice. We got to beat them in playoffs and then beat them again in the Cyclone to get through. And then yeah, the game I remember the most out of that is the championship game. Obviously, we were down 2-1, I believe, going into the third period, and we came out in the third ready to go. And I think they scored like in the first minute of the third period to go up 3-1, which kind of, I mean, you all know how that goes. So, and we ended up battling back. I think we won 5-3 that game. We scored like four unanswered in the third period, and came back and won. And yeah, that was probably the coolest moment for me of that whole season, was that game.
and had just a little touch of a party that night down in at Fruitvale.
Yeah.
Travel pit.
Nothing crazy. Yeah. It was probably pretty
Curfew
late by the
calls,
time
all
we
that
got
fun
home.
stuff.
So
Well, I can guarantee you, everyone listens to this. So if you were wrong with the Nelson one, someone will call in and talk to us, because
yeah.
there's a lot of players on your team there. Speaking of that team,
Yeah.
who was like, you scored like 43 goals. Who are your line mates? Who was setting you up, or were they just all unassisted, or what? Tell us a little bit about the line that we've heard about.
Yeah, I don't know if I had any unassisted, but one guy played on my line pretty steady the entire season. We had a bit of a rotating wingers on and off, but one guy was Braden Fuller. He's out of Grand Prairie. He came in and we just fit really well, and we played a lot together. One of the other guys that I'm sure you've heard about many times had a huge part is Ryan Edwards. Jonesy refused to play us together ever, but for whatever reason.
Like Hank and I.
Yeah, but he was a pretty good player. I mean, he was a good player in the regular season, but once the playoffs hit, every year that guy was something. He was a different animal, and he just turned it on. So he was a guy that kind of led us through that. And then the other guy that stands out is, I'm sure, I think maybe you already had him on. Well, I know you did because I'm a listener, but Archie McKinnon has been on, I believe, and he was just, I mean, that guy could poke check you from 2 zones away. So, yeah, which can be frustrating when you go against him in practice every day.
So one thing we're looking at here, it looks almost like you had, well, we call it the Jason Marguerite effect. Certain player that played started off a Trail for a full year, and then came to BV the next year. Kind of said, sorry, Trail. I'm gonna go back to BV where where it's actually went BV then Trail and then back to BV. But obviously, you had your Trail and then Vernon as well, and put up good numbers everywhere you went, obviously. And then your last year you ended up doing the season with Trail, but that was you're obviously making some choices there. The atmosphere in Beaver Valley, the team that you were with, obviously losing and then coming back. But what was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, that was to be honest, it's a bit of a different time for me. There's a lot that went into it. Without getting into too much detail, just like being in a spot where I felt comfortable and I knew that the people I was surrounded with were there to support me and make sure that I was able to get through whatever was going on. And there's not a whole lot of it talked about. I mean, there's more now, with the mental health stuff, but just there's a lot of things that went on my side of things, and BV always just felt like a place that I could come back to and know that, like, hey, if I'm here, I'm going to be okay and things are going to be better. And there's a lot of good people here to surround myself with. And, you hear a lot of things when that kind of stuff's going on, especially, when you do have the ability to play at a different level, and you make the choice not to. And it can be tough sometimes with the stuff that people chime in and whatever they want to say. But at the end of the day, just doing what was best for me in order to kind of, be able to succeed where I was. And that was kind of how most of that shook down for me. And, you know, I don't have any regrets with that. I'm super happy with where I was and, you know, the people I got to play with and the opportunities I had. And I wouldn't change that.
Yeah, no, I just think back. I mean, obviously I'm a little biased, but like you guys playing together had kind of like a special relationship, no? Like, I mean, you guys have known each other for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. He's one of the, you know, he's had one of the biggest impacts on, you know, my life in general, not just as a hockey player. So, I'm really thankful for the opportunity to be able to spend 4 years playing for him and yeah, really cherish our friendship for sure.
Any good stories? I know he's had some meltdowns over the years, said some things. I'm sure he's hard on you just like he was hard on all four of us or three of us, you know.
Yeah, you know, going back to like I said, you know, learning and adjusting I have a couple of stories I could tell, but I'll start with this one. But going back to when I was 16 and trying to learn and adjust to playing, you know, in the junior hockey level and realizing that I can't just go and, you know, float around in the slot and score goals. That's not going to cut it. So um, there was this one game where I don't know what was going on, but I was just struggling on my feet. Like I want to say, like one shift I fell down like 2 or 3 times, and then a couple shifts later I fell down again. I remember getting back to the bench and I had fallen down 3 or 4 times, and Jonesy tells me like, "Dal, come over here." I'm like, "Okay." Brings me to the middle of the bench, sits me down. I don't go out for my next shift. I'm kind of like, wonder what's going on. Like I felt like I was having a good game. I just fell down a few times, and I remember turning around, which maybe wasn't the best thing to do, but just being like, what, like, is there a reason I'm not going out? You're just a young kid, right? Like, probably just shut your mouth at that point. But, and he's like, stop fucking falling down. He got mad at me for falling down like 3 or 4 times and benched me. That's like the first time I ever really think that I got benched for like doing something wrong. And it was because I fell down like 3 or 4 times in a matter of a few shifts. So I'll never forget that. I'm like, I really got to work on staying on my feet here so I can get my regular shift. But there was, I mean, he had a few good blowouts in the dressing room, not directly aimed at me, but I don't know if anybody's told you the story when he tried to throw our goalie's pad. I don't know if you guys have heard that one on this podcast yet.
Fire away,
No.
please.
So I won't say who our goalie was, but we had just lost to Castigar in overtime. I want to say it was like the third time we had played Castigar in a row that we lost in overtime. And we were actually leading this game. They tied it up late. They score in overtime. We get back into the dressing room, and our goalie stall was right beside the door where you walk into the dressing room. So we're kind of in there. Jonesy comes in the room a little bit late, and we're all sitting there, and our goalie's sitting there, and his pad is laying, like his pad, he had taken his pads off. They were laying on the floor in front of him, but they were still laced up to his skates. So it looked like they were just laying on the floor, and Jonesy comes in and says to our goalie, like, hey, great game. And our goalie was in net for all three of these overtime losses, and he's pissed off. And he basically told Jonesy just to beat it because he was pissed off. Well, that got Jonesy going a little bit, and they kind of got into it back and forth. And then Terry basically said, well, you know what? You can pack your shit up and get out of here. And he went to grab his pad, and he went to throw it, and it was attached to his skate still. So it just like slipped right out of his hand and dropped back down. And he was so mad, but he didn't get to throw the pad. And all the boys started to crack up a little bit. And he just kind of stormed out of the room and took off. And it was
that's one you could definitely you could definitely start laughing at, especially a little bit later too, right? Like you probably have a good chuckle about that one now.
Yeah, we talk about that one all the time. I think that would have been, there's a lot of guys that are still around in this area that were on that team. So that one gets brought up every time we're all together. It's pretty funny.
So obviously you talk about having good relationships with the guys that you played with. What after you played, you moved on to Selkirk, and did you play with some of the guys there as well?
Yeah, there was a couple guys. Like again, one of the main guys was Ryan Edwards. Like him and I played together for 4 years in BV when we got to play together for 2 years at Selkirk. So he's the guy I played with for a long time.
Nice.
Did you get to play on a line with him? Did you get to play on a line with him at least at Selkirk?
On and off, we got to spend a little bit of time together. I don't know, for whatever reason, no coach ever liked us playing together. Probably because
you guys had the great chiselers.
Sounds like one of you went to the coach and said, "I'm not playing with that guy."
Yeah,
I don't know who.
And it wasn't me. So
we're gonna get. I think we're gonna get Edwards on here soon to figure this one out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. Another guy that I played with for a couple years in BV and at Selkirk was Ari Posmus too, who's a really good friend of mine. He was a great guy, and we actually, the cool thing was we all won together. Well, Ari wasn't there, but Ryan and I won together at in BV, and then 2 years later we won a college championship with Selkirk together too. So he's been definitely a guy that I really enjoyed playing with for a long time.
Nice. And what after all this, what are you doing now? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and where you are and all that.
Yeah, so after I finished school, I came back and had an opportunity to start working. There's a local gym here that a guy that I kind of knew was running. He was the owner of it, and I started training some athletes there, doing some stuff with some hockey players off the ice, and then the guy that owned the gym got into physiotherapy school, which he'd been trying to do for a while. So basically, he needed a partner to take over for him. So I ended up partnering with him, taking over 50% ownership, and then we've kind of just expanded quite a bit from there. We ended up we bought another gym that was downtown that does more of the CrossFit style and spin sort of stuff. And then last summer we purchased a gym up in Roslyn with one other former player who I already talked about, but Chris DeRoshi came in and partnered with us. So there's three of us now, and we got the gyms going. So
I can do my 3-a-days at 3 different gyms.
Yeah, all within 15 minutes. It's easy travel too.
Oh, that's incredible. Colin's gonna put a little link in the bio to those ones, Connor?
Yeah, no shit. I was talking with Ari about some stories about you, and he goes, "Can you please bring up how ironic it is that Dal owns a gym and this guy hated working out throughout?" Like,
I was all time against the gym when I played hockey. I'm like, I go to the rink for practice. I'm there for games. I'm doing just fine in the games. Like, why do I got to spend my time in the gym? And I learned very quickly after I stopped playing that, hey, if I'm not going to spend time in the gym, things are not going to be looking good. So actually, it's funny. Like, I feel like the reason I didn't want to work out back in the day is because everyone was telling me I needed to do it, and now it's like I kind of just want to do it for myself, and it's pretty easy to get in there. Like, I'm there all the time, but I work out pretty much every day when I can. So I'm in the best shape of my life. Maybe I should take another crack at hockey here. I don't know.
Yeah, or get back on the mound.
Yeah,
probably got some left in the tank, right? Maybe we'll get another guy hoisting the trophy in a few years.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's been go ahead.
Yeah, no, and then I was just gonna say, like, I'm going into my third year as assistant coach with the Trail Smoke Eaters now too. So I've been kind of doing both, doing the gym and doing the coaching thing. I've been coaching for a while now, basically straight out of playing. This is I coached at Selkirk when I first stopped playing, and now I'm with the Smoke Eaters. And last year I took on the director of scouting role too, which has been super fun and different and lots of learning. And so I'm still involved in the game a lot, and I get to go on the
changes
ice
there,
every
right? With the BCHL, right? So how's that affect? Obviously for scouting, that's massive for scouting.
Yeah, that's it's interesting. I mean, our scouting budget doesn't really work so well with. Yeah, not yet. So we might have to make some adjustments there on the ownership side, but that's not up to me. But it's going to be interesting. Like I was saying to these guys earlier, like we can have a couple extra Americans. We can have 2 Europeans now, which that one's going to be interesting. I'm trying to figure out, which guys can come over here and it's going to translate. And then we can get younger guys from all over now too, which is something that we haven't had in the past. So just watching those younger levels of hockey now, because really outside of the province, you're not watching kids till they're 17 or 18 because they can't come here anyways. So lots is changing there, but I think it's going to be good for the league. We'll find out. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, sounds like you're pretty busy, and I know a bunch of guys from your years. They kind of say that you're one of the guys that helps keep that group together. You guys get together quite a bit, and live up those glory days.
Yeah, we try to when we can. There's lots of guys that are in the area, so I don't know if I'm the glue guy. I'm probably not the glue guy. I don't want to give myself that title, but
Yeah, they didn't call you the glue guy. They just said you're the guy that kind of. I'm joking, buddy.
Always...
leading scorer of all time and a glue guy. That doesn't happen.
yeah, you don't find those guys, but no, I'm always down. I'm always there if anybody wants to get together and have a couple beers. That's an easy yes for me. So
nice one, man. That's awesome to hear from you. And it's like really, this is. I'm glad we could get this one together, and it's a good time of year. Obviously, Connor, you got something? You want to give a quick? You're coming back in August. We got a bit of an event, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure I'll see Dal there hitting the ball probably 400 yards. Golf ball. Guy started playing golf like 6 years ago. What's your handicap now?
I'm around a 4 right now.
Exactly.
But...
Insane. Simmy, you should see this guy hit the ball. It's nuts.
Glue guy, leading score, 4 handicap.
And I just got my first hole-in-one last weekend.
Unreal.
Just
done.
But
you're gonna win the Nitehawks alumni golf tournament, and we're all then buy all the beers once you
drinks beers and then works out in the morning and probably leads dart night as well on Tuesdays.
but yeah, we have the tournament August 19th. I think we got probably, I think we're 3/4 full right now. Dal, you got a team in it yet?
I don't. You know what? I'm in a tough spot right now. I'm trying to work things out here. I got a wedding that day, but I'm just the +1, so nobody cares if I'm there.
Oh God.
I'm a total +1 on that day. So we'll see what the fiance says. I'm working on it.
Good.
I guarantee you he doesn't have a team in yet because he's hoping he just gets put out with like one other guy so he can just win it himself.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and then followed the golf tournament. We got the banquet after. It's going to be just a real big celebration of former Nitehawk employees. Shirley and Dixie and stuff. So it's just going to be an awesome time getting everybody together. I know I got my team. You got two guys I play with, Johnny Wilson and Chris Davis, and then another guy, Lyle Frank, who's from Grand Prairie but lives in the area now. So amazing how that goes. You come and play Junior B in Beaver Valley, then you end up staying for your whole life. So looking forward to that and having all the boys together.
Awesome. Jakey, hopefully things are going good there. Before you push your dinner time back on you tonight?
No, that's all right. It's all good. Worth it for sure. It's great catching up with you, Dal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you guys
100%, boys.
And we'll catch up again soon.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dal.
Right.
See you,
Thank
boys.
you. See you guys. See you later.
Hi, listeners. This is former Nitehawks player and captain Morgan Peace from the 2017 to 2020 seasons. I hope you're enjoying the show. Make sure to follow us on social media at BV Nitehawks Alums and to visit our website at bvnighthawksalum.ca.